Hi everybody, today I will show you about how to use from in React framework. From is very popular in the HTML, and here I open the project, the default project, and with the default element with the render, and now I define a form in the type of React component. I define a default React component with constructor and with render method, and inside this we can initialize some property or state, and inside the render I render the user interface. So inside the render we have a form element, and with the form element we can have the label. We add the label to allow user to insert your his or she information. For instance, we have your names to allow user insert their name, and we have an input element. The input element with the type of text, so the property type is equal to text. We can have text area or option, etc. And the value here is state. We can get the value of text from the state. It means that we have to add the value to the state, and we get from the state to display to the input element. And the value here we can have get data from state. It means that the state will contain the data user change, and on change is action when user type to the input element. When user type to input to the element, it will call its handle change function, and the on change mean when you type only one character, it will call to the handle change. It is different than the on click. When you on click mean you tap to the user interface. Here it means user change the text or type text from the keyboard, and it will save to the this.state.text error. Now we define the handle function. The handle function is an arrow function, so we define it with a parameter in the left and the implementation in the right. So here it is an arrow function. In the left we have the argument of event. Event mean inside the event is contains the point to the object that click to that point to the handle change. And here when the handle change is called, it will set state. We can change the state, or we change the test data. And when you initialize a component, you have to set the state to the initialization value. So I set the test data to a blank, and you remember that you only need to use assign as a constructor, and other you must use a setter. You only use a setter here, and the assign you only do as a constructor. Remember that. And here I set the test data to the test data that the user change, that user type to the by the keyboard, and the event dot target here means the input, because the input calls the on change event. And the value here is state test error, and it is a control component. control component means that when you change inside the value of input, and then the value of input will be saved to the state. So I add a more input element here. This input element is an input that allows you to press the submit button or the submit form. This is the basic of submit form you learned in HTML or HTML5, and the type is submit and the value is label add to the submit button. So you can change it to submit your name. It is the label or the title of the button submit, and then I call the from component and open terminal and restart the project. Then it will show you about here is the text box and the button to submit when I type it, and you can add the submit, the on submit here. When you press the submit, it will call to this function or handle submit. The on submit is an event that allow you to submit your data to the server, for example, and here it will call to the handle submit, and inside the handle submit I show the inside state to prove that the state has been changed. So you submit this data and I can continue to string. The string means this dot state and dot test data. This proves that the test data has been changed by user by he or she typing to your input. And here when I press it, okay, and it shows to the screen W. And why the test is disappear? Because it is the default of this element. The default here means that when you press the submit, all data has been clear. And if you want to prevent it, you can call the event dot prevent default. It means that it prevents the default setting to be disappear as a test. And when I clicked and type a test here, you can see that while on OK, and you see that the test is still here and not disappear. And it is a aim of this method prevent default. So I can customize the form element by adding it to a class. Use user class name. Remember, class name, not class. And inside the CSS file, you style the input form with the margin top down left right and the padding top down left right, okay, and the color. So you can see that you can customize your form as you like. And here you can change the text and see the text is still when you press submit. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel for more interesting video. Thank you very much.